I'll admit it from the start. The title does sound a little clickbaity. I also did my research. I know most sources on anti-aging exercises give robotic lists with little info behind. I'll do better. I'll help you understand how to pick the best exercises for yourself. That means I'll start with the signs of aging, explain how you can tell whether an exercise can combat aging, and how you can pick the best types of training to organize these moves. In the final section, I'll explain how to tie all this info together into the 10 best anti-aging exercises, which you can also find in the video description as a full routine. Let's dive in. What are the signs of aging? Understanding what happens to your body as you age will help you pick the best exercises to mitigate these issues. In short, aging means losing muscle mass, bone mass, endurance, and mobility. You'll also notice a decrease in energy and overall brain power. And I'm not even touching wrinkles and skin sagginess. Luckily, some exercises can decrease the so-called symptoms of aging. As a side note, they're not anti-aging in the literal sense, but they can make you feel 50 when you're 80. So how can you tell whether an exercise fits the bill? It's really honestly common sense. Was your body made for doing it? Did your ancestors do it in the wild, and do your toddlers do it today? If the answer is yes, then you've hit the jackpot. Basically, anything that uses the very human patterns of motion, like walking, squatting, pushing, pulling, and crawling, should fit like a charm. But it also depends how you're doing these exercises. That brings me to my next point. Choosing the best anti-aging training types. These exercises can be grouped into 4 types of training: resistance, functional, mobility, and HIIT. Here's why I came up with this classification. Resistance training includes strength training, which increases muscle and bone mass. However, typical strength training implies using weights. Hypertrophy training is an even more specialized branch that implies increasing your weights to grow your muscles. I would instead argue that all kinds of resistance training can keep your muscles and bones from deteriorating. As long as you can create mechanical tension and metabolic stress, your muscles and bones will stay strong. You should also pick functional exercises because these will help you move your body better in real life. I'm talking about exercises that mimic moves you're doing in real life, in multiple planes and on different axes. Squats are a great example because they're like sitting on and getting up from a chair, whereas lunges prepare you for climbing stairs. And farmer's carries, on which I have a whole video, are best for grip and core strength. It's also best to add resistance to these functional moves to delay muscle and bone deterioration. Besides, functional moves also keep your brain young because you have to coordinate your limbs and maintain your balance, thus exercising your focus. And since functional exercises are multi-muscle, they're also more intense from a cardiovascular standpoint, which makes your heart pump blood faster, thus bringing more oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Next up, mobility workouts. As we age, our muscle flexibility and joint mobility decrease, so we need mobility routines. This group includes different types of workouts, like primal movements, animal flows, or even some postural alignment exercises. I like primal-based moves the most because they're very functional and use your body weight as resistance. Squat walkouts, bear crawls, and crab walks are all great because they use movement patterns we can all recognize as inherently human. Babies do them, our ancestors in the wild did them, and that's what our bodies are meant to do. Finally, HIIT training. It's obvious we need some cardiovascular training to keep our hearts and lungs healthy. HIIT is the best type of cardio training in my opinion because it combines high and low intensity intervals. That way, you can reap both their benefits as you combine anaerobic and aerobic moves. Basically, HIIT increases your resting metabolic rate, decreases visceral fat stores like no other exercise, increases your heart and lung capacity, and skyrockets your endurance. HIIT also entails weight-bearing and plyometric moves, which enhance your bone mass. Perform this routine 3 times a week, allowing at least 1 day of rest between sessions to ensure recovery. On off days, consider light activities like walking or Pilates to stay active without overexerting. Now you have a good idea of which type of exercise and movement can slow down aging. You only lack a solid routine with a few of the best exercises you can do on a weekly basis. So, here is a solid routine with a few of the best anti-aging exercises you can do on a weekly basis. Remember that you can find the entire routine with sets and durations in the video description. Basically, I'd start with 20 minutes of resistance training that includes squats, push-ups, pull-ups, or body rows and deadlifts. I'd then move to about 15 minutes of functional and mobility training, including farmer's carries, lunges, bear crawls, and crab walks. And I'd end up with a 15-minute HIIT routine to maximize your cardiovascular effort. These would include burpees, mountain climbers, jump squats, and high knees. Of course, you can add your own favorites to the mix, such as rucking, running, or stair climbing. And feel free to change the type of exercise you start with according to your goals. For example, my routine emphasizes resistance training. But if I wanted to lose weight too, I'd start with the HIIT portion. Which brings us to the end of this clip. If you liked this video or maybe even learned something new, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the Fitnessdy channel for more quality content. I love hearing from you, so dive into the comments section below and share your thoughts. What anti-aging exercises have you incorporated into your routine? Are there any specific moves or workouts you swear by for staying youthful and vigorous? Your insights contribute to our collective growth and guide what we create next, so don't hold back. Let's start the conversation.